camera market offering is growing every year, and even if you get the latest model, it's only a few months before a new one comes out with a shiny new feature, and your camera feels old right away. So it's easy to get caught in the trap of feeling like you have to upgrade your camera every year, or every 2 years, or every time that a new model comes out. But in this video I wanted to share a few things I think we should keep in mind. Since I studied photography, I have upgraded my camera a few times, and not all of those were the correct decisions. So here's how I go about upgrading my camera now. The first thing that I try to always remember is the myth of image quality. One thing we should know is that the same photo can be taken with every camera. What I mean by that is that if you have thought your photo before taking it and you're not just reacting, you can take that photo with whatever camera you have. The difference in taking the same photo with another camera is that it might be easier, so that's the reason why you should upgrade your camera. It's not because you don't like your photos, it's because you want to take the photos that you like more easily. For example, I took this photo with an entry-level camera. It's absolutely not the best photo or a good photo in any way, but it's a good example for this thing. In order to take this photo with an entry-level camera, which was a Nikon D5200, I was forced to have a tripod because it didn't have internal stabilization and it wasn't stabilized in any way. Of course, I would have been able to take this photo with a newer camera, probably handheld, because I could go as low as I needed with my shutter speeds. So if you're thinking to upgrade your camera because you want to be a better photographer, because you want better photos, you're actually not taking the hit for your bad photos and you're giving all the blame to your camera. And that's not the best way to go about it. What's gonna make you a better photographer is learning to use the camera you have and taking more photos. I actually made a video about why street photography is one of the best ways to learn photography and to develop your skills, so feel free to check that out. Second thing that I always try to keep in mind when thinking about an upgrade is know what type of photography you do and where you're gonna use your camera. Now, let me share about the worst decision that I have made regarding an upgrade for a camera. Now, my first camera was a Nikon D5200 and it was an entry level. It was good at first and I kept it for years. I've made tons of photos with it. But when people started asking me to take their photos for their business or whatever, I started thinking, oh, I need a better camera because this is only an entry level. You know, I can't go to a client and show up with an entry level camera. Now, let me say that clients don't know the first thing about cameras, because now that I'm shooting with an X-T3 and I show up and they ask me if I'm shooting film. So that's how far their knowledge of the camera world goes. So obviously I started to think that I needed to go full frame. But for the type of photography that I do, which is mostly street photography, a bigger camera and bigger lenses is the last thing that I need. So I ended up buying a Nikon D7200. And why do I say that that's the worst decision that I made? Well, because as I said, most of my photography is street photography and I like to shoot at chest height or waist height, and that camera is a fixed screen camera. So that made my experience horrible with it. And that's because I didn't think about how I was gonna use that camera. The next thing is knowing what features that your current camera doesn't have are making you miss shots. When you're thinking about getting a new model, try to make a list of the features that that model has and your current camera doesn't have. For example, if I was considering to buy the X-T5 having an X-T3, that list would include IBIS, would include a better battery life, it would include higher megapixels count, better video quality, And what I'm suggesting to do is try to think, how many times have you missed a shot because you don't have those features? How many times am I not reaching the result that I want because I don't have IBIS, because I don't have higher megapixel count, because I don't have a better battery life? And if you want to know the result of this thought process, I've made a video about why I didn't upgrade to an X-T4 and why I'm not upgrading to an X-T5 yet. The last thing that I think you should wonder is, do you like your camera? Because if you don't like your camera, if you don't enjoy using it, then it might be worth it to upgrade your camera, simply because a new camera, more beautiful camera, is gonna get more use. And if you're gonna use it more and you're gonna take more photos, that's ultimately what's gonna make you a better photographer. So that's it. That's how I try to think to keep my gear acquisition syndrome at bay. Let me know if it has helped you choose your new camera or keeping your old one, or if this was unhelpful at all. Bye.